All right, welcome to another LA Game Night podcast.
It's happening again.
It's happening, man.
I'm so excited.
How many times? Is this 4 times we've done this now?
I think so.
We've done the
I'm
event.
not good at counting.
Well, we've done the event 5 times, but this is the fourth time that we've done the podcast.
Right.
Yes.
Crazy.
And it just seems like they're never gonna end. I'm in a good way.
In a great way.
In a
wonderful way. Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's do the rundown for the
All
people
right.
who are new, the people who are watching
Welcome.
this at a later date.
Yep.
On our Twitch account, on our YouTube, any place that you're watching it. We are LA Game Night. What we do is we come in, we set up amazing games that everyone loves at the wonderful, the great, your friendly neighborhood geek bar, Scum and Villainy
Cantina,
6377 Hollywood Boulevard,
Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, that's 90028. I actually used to live in this zip code. So
Really?
I lived on Hollywood for about 3 years.
Wow.
Didn't sleep one night.
I bet you didn't.
It was a lot. It was loud.
It feels like this road specifically, this part of town, is constantly up and on.
Movement.
Yeah.
Movement all the time.
Someone's always partying.
Always
somewhere.
going. I believe it's not the city that never sleeps, but it never sleeps.
It never sleeps.
It's the area of this city that never sleeps. But we are at Scum and Villainy. We love this place. It's wonderful. The people here are amazing.
Yep.
We've been doing this since day one over here, last Sunday of every month. We bring in these amazing games that everyone loves to play. We got Smash Brothers, we got Mario Kart, we got GoldenEye, we got a lot of
retro
options.
games.
A lot of
got
retro
some GoldenEye
games.
over there that
GoldenEye.
people playing.
Love it. GoldenEye always does great.
But
We got
the
Halo.
Biggest thing that we do.
What do we do? That's
the biggest thing
what
that we
is
do
it?
around here is that we display and allow you to interact with upcoming indie game developers.
That is right. That is right. Games that you've heard of, games that you've never heard of. Not only do you get a chance to come in and play these amazing games, but the developers are here.
It's also a networking event.
You get
it's
to
also
talk.
a party because you're at the neighborhood geek bar.
The coolest bar I can ever imagine ever
drinks.
existing. Amazing drinks, amazing food. Everything here is great. But you sit down and you play real games that are made by real game developers
that you can talk to.
You can talk to right then and there. You can ask them questions. They're looking for feedback. They're looking to tell you about why their game.
Right. They're not coming here unless they want to actually interact with the people who can be their fans.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's really important, especially in any kind of indie or community development, is to get the people who are fans and that put money into this industry into those who are like, well, I want to be something in this industry. I want to make something. I want to inspire you. So for me as an artist, one of the best ways to get any kind of inspiration is to talk to people who are passionate about that in which you're doing the art on.
And we brought them right here.
That's right.
We got them sitting right here.
Absolutely.
That's the best part about it.
This thing is for that. Is for those who are passionate and love the industry to talk to those who are also passionate and love this industry.
And I have to say, man, I know I say it every time, but once again, we have a pretty impressive round of games and developers here.
There's a lot of stuff been happening in the industry as of late, especially one of the newest where VR is going to be a lot more accessible to the average home.
Yes, let's talk about this.
Yeah, so it's a new Oculus Quest. It's a wireless headset, and
that's
it's going
huge.
to be $399. So it's accessible.
It's
right?
absolutely. That's affordable. You get rid of the wires, man, and you eliminate a lot of the setup. And I think you're going to just expand your audience, make it very accessible. People will just be able to throw on a headset and then go away.
And because VR is so not accessible yet, the indie game, those that are still developing it, have a chance. They're on the forefront of it, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I really love that at least one developer that we have each month is a VR specific.
We always sneak in, and the reason that we do that is a lot of the people who love to play games and come in just to play the games that we have set up and have a good time don't have the opportunity to experience VR. And usually when they do experience VR, they have a lot of questions.
Yep.
So we have the guys who made the VR game that they're playing
helping guide
can
you.
answer the question. Just the simple questions of how do I move around and what are other ways that other games would do this mechanic. And it's cool to get the take of these developers who are everyone's pretty new to VR. Even the developers. So it's a very
the wild west.
It's the wild west of that process kind of unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're talking so much about VR. Why don't we just bring up someone who does VR?
Sounds good to me, man.
We have returning from the first game night we have Reiko's Fragments.
Oh, nice.
And the wonderful and the great Joey Lee right over here. Come on in, Joey. Come on in.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Thanks for being
absolutely.
here,
It's
man.
great to have you here. As I was just mentioning, Joey participated, or Reiko's Fragments participated in the very first LA game night 5 months ago.
Yeah.
No, we
exactly
didn't
5
do any
months ago.
podcasts. We didn't do
Yeah.
any streaming. We didn't do any live
Nope.
interviews. And your game was just flat out a hit.
God,
Everyone,
thank-
you know it. Don't ask Modest. Like, everybody was going
Thank
back
you,
there.
thank
You had a
you.
line the entire night. People still talk to me about it, and I kept telling them, like, no, we're going to get them back. It's
Right.
like, we started doing this podcast. I got to get them back
Right.
anyways. I've got to have them talk about
So for
this
those
game.
out there, Reiko's Fragments is a survival horror VR
Yes,
game, right?
yes.
It's a sandbox type. So at least currently in current
Yes.
existence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the team and how you came about in developing this particular.
Yeah, so
game.
so we're pretty early in development right now. It's actually been about 5 months of
Oh,
development time.
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
played
you
it
guys
the first
give it- yeah.
time
yeah.
and just played it again, and the detail and what you've added is amazing. So
Yeah, we've definitely
you've done a lot
added
in such a
quite
short amount of
bit,
time.
yes. And the beginning of it was actually just me with I'm a 3D artist, so I built
Right.
this haunted house in
There it
Unreal
is.
Engine.
Come on.
Oh, there you
We
go.
talked about this
It's-
earlier.
It's hard to
I
look
It
at
is,
it.
man.
It's
It
gonna
is hard.
happen.
It's very
Microphones
unnatural,
up.
right? You're
I
always
got-
feeling like
Microphones
I
up.
got you. I got
it's
you.
important what I have to say.
Yes.
And
We
just
You gotta- you
ignore
gotta
the
we
just
detail.
put
want
it
to
right
know.
here
We
on the
want to
nose.
know about this, but I did so awesomely rudely cut you off. Let's jump right back into
I
it.
got you. So basically, I build things in Unreal Engine
Right.
in environments.
Very
So
cool.
I went ahead and built this haunted house. Got like a bedroom, a hallway, and a kitchen done. And like I came out to LA. I'm from DC. Just only a year now.
Oh wow.
And when I moved out here with this demo of this, just a walking simulator of 3 rooms, I started meeting a couple friends, like my music guy over there, Nick, one of the first guys I met at PlayStation Experience. He saw
Yeah.
the little video, and he's like, yo, this is pretty dope. Let's do something about it. And I thought about it. I was like, well, maybe I should give it a shot. So I started to meet more and more gamers, and eventually we just started doing it as a passion project,
Cool.
started working on it. And
Right.
we're a team of about 8 or 10 now,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just like we just work on it on our own time. We
Yeah.
have dev day Sundays. We hang out. We go eat.
Yeah.
We make
Or
stuff.
you showcase at Scum and Villainy with LA Game Night on Dev
and
Day
hey,
Sundays.
you guys gave me the first opportunity to show it publicly.
Well, okay, so that actually, you're talking about how one of your first connections was you just had that little video and everything. That's the first
Yeah.
time I saw it was at a meetup
right,
as
at
well.
A meetup, yeah.
And I think we lost power to the whole setup, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
briefly saw some of the trailer, and I was like, you know what, dude, I got this thing going on. Let's do this for real.
Yeah.
Let's get people playing
Yeah.
this
Right.
game. But I saw enough that I knew I wanted to have that as just
Yeah.
a part of the
Well,
night.
and it makes sense because we were literally just talking about how this place is. We're trying to make a community where you come together and talk to people, and network, as well as experience their things. And that's exactly what he's saying is how his team came about. So
Yep.
that's very important, right? This is the stuff that really drives me to be a part of this, is because it's the newest way to get a community together of people who are passionate about stuff. And to solve any problem in the world at all, that's what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
And so it's inevitable that if you get people in a room together talking about video games, they're going to talk about
Yep.
other things that are bothering them or that need to be solved. And
Mhm.
for me, that's what I get excited about. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, let's talk a little bit more about your team. I see
Yes.
some familiar faces. I see some new faces.
Yes, yeah.
And I also see why those new faces may be there, because the game has, man,
Dramatically
it's
improved.
incredibly,
Yes.
just the path it's taken is
Yeah.
so awesome to be like, no, I saw it originally,
Yep.
and now I'm seeing it here, but that draws for new team members.
And
Yeah.
having played
expanding
it at
equipment.
the first game night, there were scares that got me. That I knew
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
what I was in, and it still got me.
Yeah.
So that's the part where I go, okay, all right, I like what's
so,
going on.
So pushing the envelope, what did you guys need to add? What did you need to put in place to get the game where it is?
So jumping off of what you said, the original build was just a ambience. It was just a walking simulator with
Right.
a couple scares, like a haunted house experience. We didn't really have too much functionality, just a couple trigger boxes of some things that might pop out here and there. What we really wanted to focus on, and we were already planning for it. It just wasn't ready to show way back when.
Sure.
Which is like the stealth mechanics of it. The thing that's haunting you.
Yeah.
I like to compare it to Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
like one,
it is very
fantastic
much
game.
like that.
one enemy that's kind of trying to hunt you down.
That can't
And-
that you
And
can't
it-
just kill.
you
get
just
rid
can't
of.
kill.
And also, but it doesn't always get you.
Right.
Correct. So in our case, it's actually blind, so it's more focused on audio, sounds.
Wow.
So that's where all these
That's very
things in
cool.
VR, all of a sudden, you can pick up almost anything. Trying to get to the point where everything you try to
Everything,
pick
yeah.
up, it's getting there. It's
And I'm that
much-
kind of player where it's like
Yeah.
the first thing I do is I can't do this in real life. I'm gonna break things I shouldn't. You know.
Exactly.
that's
You're
how I
having
do
fun
Absolutely.
having a rage
You
room.
threw
Right, right,
everything
right.
in the room.
Of course.
Ron has already
That's what
played it
VR
today.
is for, man.
Yeah.
I can't throw these glass bottles, but you know what? They make really cool sounds when they break. So
Yes.
I can't do it here, but I'm going to do it in that video
Do
game.
whatever you want.
Yeah,
to
I
do.
know it's
That's right.
fascinating. Some people just have fun doing that. And
Yeah.
that was the build before. People just like enjoyed throwing things,
Yeah.
but now we give them a reason. Like I said,
Yes.
this is actual a reason for you to be
Right.
able to throw everything is because now you need to create sound for
That's
it
just smart design,
survive.
man. That's really what that is.
so yeah, so we're really
you wanna-
taking that
gonna
like
do.
Well,
you know there's
Yeah, and I love because you're kind of honoring, like, in my opinion, the greatest horror movies really live and die off of their sound design.
Ambience.
And I mean, even go back to Psycho, the most iconic, scary sound of the blade behind. Yeah, absolutely. And just watching Ron, I wasn't in the game, and I'm gonna do it later. I'm very scared, but I love the fact of just you are kind of surviving by your ear,
Yeah.
and you're listening for things in the game, and your way that you literally survive is by being smart with how
Right.
you use sound.
Yep.
And it's
yep
it's
exactly
a lot
that.
of fun.
That's
yeah.
a really
Absolutely.
good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I actually learned that one.
It's
Yeah.
a very you're using like you're in VR, and I love that this game is doing this because you've got every sense to play with when you're in VR because you really feel it. You
Right.
you really have a new way of looking at a game, but you guys went and didn't ignore sound.
Well, and not only that, he's saying that they also took what was naturally happening with the people that were playing their games and were like, well, let's bank on that. Let's use that
Yeah.
to actually give us a design and a move forward. That's how you make a really great game. Something that you're already going to do, right? Like
Yeah.
someone like me is like, okay, I'm going to break these bottles and see what
Yeah.
happens. Well, now, if you give it purpose, you're not only giving me the dopamine rush of doing the thing that I
Yeah.
already wanted it to do, but now you're giving me purpose to do it as
Yeah.
well. And that's game. That's just brilliant game design.
What took you guys to that point? Really, like, we had spoken before about kind of some of the inspirations that brought you there, and you're really delivering. What was something from just like you as a gamer or you in the early development stages going, we've got this platform VR. Let's go horror. Let's do it this way. What got you there?
I mean, I think my original inspiration was PT. My like favorite developer is Hideo Kojima, and
Yeah.
I remember seeing PT for the first time, and I was just like, that's where I would personally enjoy games take all their processing power is to like put it down to this really photorealistic hallway. Like I want to see the dust on the table. I want to
Yeah.
see things on
Absolutely.
and granted, that game would have been amazing in VR because the detail that they put on just that little table with the pills and the phone. And that's when I remember I was really fascinated about creating something super detailed and realistic, but enclosed, not open world. I don't want
Yep.
a lot of people love the open world stuff now, but then technically you have to sacrifice quality
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And
the small stuff.
it's a different feel.
Yeah.
You really feel trapped in your game, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that a play space so small, like just one floor. We have 2 floors. We're not even showing you guys the second floor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
that's
there's-
already built
There's
out.
more
Nice.
to experience.
I know.
to
Yeah.
terrify us.
So we're only showing you 1 floor, 5 rooms, and it feels pretty big in
Yep.
VR because everything just becomes more interactive. Like everything on the table, all of a sudden is a interactable object.
Yes.
Compared to like if it was a third-person shooter, you would just run past furniture without ever caring.
Right.
No, you're
it's-
actually
Right.
looking to use anything as a resource,
Right.
Yeah.
and you don't know in this game whether or not like you needed to do that to get you out of a bind.
Well, and Joey, what I really like is that you're using constraint as a way to be creative, right? We've talked about this, Red, plenty of times where if I give you a blank canvas and tell you to draw a picture, there's a lot of options, and it drives as anyone who goes to a grocery store knows, that when you're given too many options, it stresses you out. So, but if I give you a piece of paper where I've taken black paint and splattered on it and said, draw me something, you're going to come up with something a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because there's limitation.
There is, yeah.
And you can use limitation in order to grow and to and to make a better, more rewarding experience. And I think you guys are really doing that. So
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, I have to say, you came in on this night when we just basically said, hey, we're gonna do this game night thing. We're at this awesome bar. Just come help out. You know, we really want a VR game. I'd seen your game. I loved it. You guys came. Your entire team was so professional and awesome. That first night was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I was just
every night since.
Every night since, But it was, it was nice. It was the first one.
Of course.
And not only the fact that you guys were gracious enough to come back and do this event with us tonight, just seeing the game, progress to where it has in such a short amount of time makes me very proud to have the entire Pixel Canvas Studio team involved in this.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Joey.
much.
Yeah, thank you for definitely we're super excited to come back. We worked
cool.
super hard on this current build that everybody gets to play tonight. So
great.
It's fantastic.
I
Come
can't
down
wait
here
to
and
see where you guys
yourself.
go with it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, Joey.
Cool.
Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yep, right there.
I'm scared.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with horror movies, as my partner can identify very clearly.
Is it true?
It's hard to
Is it true? We're getting a big nod.
Yeah, of course we are. It's hard to drag me into a theater to watch a scary movie.
I'm right there with you.
But there are certain scary movies that they're so impactful in storytelling and immersion that I get past the scare part, right? I'm not kidding you. When I was playing that game, there were times where I was like, I got to sit down because I got too many goosebumps going up and down my body.
Oh,
right
no.
now.
I was watching
and there wasn't
you
even
and
anything scary. It was just the ambiance of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
visually, just
visually
everything
compelling,
that puts,
and the way, just a lot of what they've thrown in there is super visceral, and it's awesome.
Was
so
the movie
cool.
you were talking about, was it The Shining?
It was The Shining.
Of course, dude.
Of course it is.
I've read. I love The Shining, and it's a scary movie I'll put on all the time just because it transcends the fear. Like you go so far with it.
And I think Shining is probably one of they have all those horror experiences that are based around The Shining.
Of course.
But there's a part that's growing, that, as you know, I work in that industry, in the escape room industry, where I think there's a lot of growth that you can do, specifically with things like Space Odyssey, The Shining, all those kind of things, where escape rooms and more immersive gaming
going off of like
really
the Kubricks and the Carpenters and everything like that, of course, because they got to you on a primal level,
right? And
that's
they were
what
trying
scared
to.
you.
Right?
It wasn't just a jump.
You in a primal way. As real as they could through this fake lens that they have in their hands.
I have to say, like with Reiko's specifically, this build of it, that's a primal fear,
dude.
Primal fear.
It got me.
So you were just talking. I know that you do quite a bit of work in the aspect of building these escape rooms, but there was also something very recent. That I was pleasantly surprised to see. A small little company did a commercial.
They did.
State Farm did a commercial, and all of a sudden, I see Ron.
I looked a little different, huh?
You did
a little different,
Yeah,
still me.
But you had the robe on, dude. It was great. First off, congratulations,
Thank
man.
I appreciate that.
That's a great. That's great.
Thank
that's
you.
a huge ad campaign.
Yeah. So
great company.
those of you out there that don't know, I am an actor by trade. That's what I do most of the time. Comedian is a lot of my work, but film and television has actually been mostly big, scary kind of guy. So I do a lot of commercial work as well, and recently State Farm has been so kind to bring me on in some of their campaigns. So on YouTube, you can actually see it. It's called Dream House. It's a State Farm commercial in Dream House. I play your neighbor who comes out in his silk pajamas and steals your Wi-Fi, and then complains.
You're that neighbor.
I'm that neighbor.
Yeah.
I'm the neighbor who steals Wi-Fi and then complains to you when it's slow.
So how on the nose is that? Are you stealing Wi-Fi and complaining to your neighbors?
No, I am a firm believer in get your own Wi-Fi because I want as fast as speeds as possible personally.
Good.
But I did, in the commercial at the end, there's a pant rip, and that is actually real. That actually happened.
That's right. You had told me that story, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that
My their pants
much.
ripped at the end there.
That's
Because they're silk pajamas.
authenticity right there.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is-
You can't fake that kind of comedy, man. That's real.
I
That's
love
what
it.
real
Well,
is.
also, if you guys, I know you've already gone and you've already YouTubed that, but stay tuned on our stream and you
Yes.
will see one of, it cracks me up every time, a little skit from your production team.
Yes.
Every person is crucial.
Yes.
Epic Brothers
Epic Bros.
Productions.
Yep.
Stay tuned. You will see that appear on the
Yeah.
stream tonight. It's wonderful.
You'll see parts of me you've
It's
never
so-
seen before.
But then you will see again.
But then you'll see again because you can't look away. It's like a bus crash.
wonderful because it hits to the level of just people trying to get out there and
That's
make
right,
it.
man.
I'm gonna not give away too much, but it's a check in the mail for. It's more about the proud moment of
Yeah,
getting the
of
check
course.
than the actual dollar
Then
amount.
what is
on
on
it.
the amount? Right.
But
exactly.
yes, you will see some amazing Ron moments.
I appreciate that.
Now, Ron, let's talk about a game we were playing a little bit earlier that I know you were a huge fan of.
I can't. It's hard for me to say this because I love most of the games that come through these doors. There hasn't been one I haven't enjoyed that
We've been lucky
showcased.
in that
We've been
aspect,
lucky in
yeah.
that aspect. But this game I think is probably one of. I'm just gonna go and say it. It's my favorite so far.
Yeah.
And it's because it's in my genre.
It's right up
in
your
there,
alley.
Right
I
up my
knew-
alley.
I knew right away
And
you were going to love it.
it's immediately pick up and like let's compete and have it's couch co-op, man, and that's
It's
my
couch
thing.
co-op. It's great. Let's
thing.
bring up the man of
Yeah,
the
let's do
hour.
it.
Tell
Let's
us
do it.
about Ted Parks. Come on
Ted
down. Just watch out for Dan there. He's working. Come on down, Ted.
At Sundown.
Hello,
.com.
everyone.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome
you.
to the evening. Let's
Yeah.
talk about At Sundown.
So before we do anything at all, first of all, what is the genre of the game that we're about to talk about here? How do you identify it?
I say stealth shooter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
stealth multiplayer arena shooter kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of check marks.
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
going
It
on,
is.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Mhm.
So how did you get part of the team? Like, give us some tell us how you got involved with At Sundown.
So it was just a couple of friends, you know,
Yeah.
at USC. We just wanted to make a game.
Right.
And I originally signed on as an artist.
Right.
But that changed to level designer and then got changed to producer.
Yeah. As happens when you
Yeah.
build a team on your own.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the idea of the game came up because our engineer, Steven, he heard the name Shotguns in the Dark.
Yeah.
And since you've already played the
Yeah.
game, you kind of
Yeah.
understand.
Yes, I do.
Shotguns in the
Shotguns
Dark.
in the
man.
That's
Dark.
a pretty
That's
accurate
actually
description.
very accurate.
That's a country western
Yeah.
album title right there.
Yeah.
Shotguns in the Dark.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a stealth shooter. So
Yeah.
literally, just kind of a quick explanation is, it's up to 4 players. At least the way that I've played it is you're all trying to kill each other, and you have a variety of different weapons, and it's dark. And if you're not in the light, you can't be seen.
Yeah.
And if you are, you can. And to be seen is to die. So that's pretty much it.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Can you market our game for us?
Sure,
Can we
yes,
just take you
absolutely.
to
You could
everything?
absolutely. You could take me anywhere you'd like. I will go with you because this game is awesome. We played it for like maybe 5 minutes, and it's one of those games where I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to put this down
Well,
right
I had
now.
to pull you. I was like,
or
we
we'll
got
do
to
nothing
do.
else.
We've got some stuff to do before
Got
we
a
shoot this
podcast,
show.
Ron.
We
Yeah.
got to get you over here.
The fanboyism is just.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
seriously, it's awesome.
Well, I
And
know
the first thing I
exactly
asked
where
was,
you're
how do
gonna
you
be.
pre-order?
Yeah, right after. Yeah, that is a wonderful question.
Yeah.
Well, how do you pre-order it, Ted?
So right now you can't pre-order it,
Right.
but it is coming very, very soon to Discord.
Straight
Very
to Discord.
soon. So-
That's awesome.
It's first on Discord, and later in the year it's coming out for consoles and
Cool.
Steam. We
I have no doubt that it will take off because this game is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you.
It's great. So we've got it coming out on Discord, and the reason actually that we got connected in the first place is a good friend and one of the LA Game Night alums, Neil Sarkar of King of the Hat, has been out and doing all of these expos, everything with you guys. Let's talk a little bit about just the success this game is already having.
Mhm.
It's very exciting. Got turned on to this. Having it here, very awesome. It raises the bar for the evening.
Yeah.
And congratulations on all of the big hype and everything
Thank you.
around it.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about how that process has been. How's it been showing it off, getting it out there, seeing how well it's been receptive by the audience?
It's definitely nerve-wracking because
Yeah.
you never know if a build's just gonna crash on you. But
That's-
That is very true.
But you get used to it, and
Yeah.
that's probably the best part about being a developer is when you get to show off what you've been working on for such a long time in front of people, and they like it.
Yep.
And they like it.
Yeah.
That's the
And they
big
like it.
other one.
Yeah.
Like, you can make
Yeah.
something. You can make a bunch
Not
of
everybody's
stuff.
gonna
but
like it.
usually they won't.
Yep.
Actually, so
Yep.
it's great, and I've heard nothing but great things. And then I've played it quite a bit longer than you have today.
I really am just
and I've
like,
got
you
my
know
own
what?
little
You guys
strategy.
do
I think
this.
I'm pretty
I'm gonna
incredible.
go play at Sundown.
No,
okay?
no,
That's
no,
where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
no. We still this goes all night. You can play after the podcast.
Cool.
Ah, jeez, Ron. It's wonderful, and you guys are also putting it on Switch, correct?
Yes. we
Yeah,
are.
that.
That's nice.
So I feel that's incredible.
Yep.
It's not that simple to get on Switch. You want to talk a little bit about the process of actually getting approved and getting it on there?
Yeah. So we went through a little different process with other people from other people because we have a publisher versus Evil.
Yes.
So they kind of handle getting like Switch dev kits and stuff like that. And they also helped us get contractors so that we can port the game.
There
on
we go.
Switch.
Yeah. This is important stuff. We want people to hear.
Yeah. So it might be a little different, if you're just trying to go on about it yourself. Because I know nowadays it's like a lot of people are trying to get on Switch.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of people, and it's really nice that I do have a lot of respect for how difficult it is to get on Switch because it's kind of it's vetting and the games that you do go out and you purchase as a consumer on Switch, have met a certain standard, and it's I feel safe as a consumer knowing this game is going to be pretty awesome.
Yes.
And that's really just congratulations.
Yeah.
Getting to that point.
It's not easy.
And then-
PlayStation's the same way. PlayStation has a vetting process that's very, very difficult. And so once it's just like the Apple Store, right? Like you got to go through a vetting process to get all that kind of stuff. So once getting past that hurdle is very difficult, and once you do, it's from what I understand downhill from there, right? Like it's easier. It's a lot easier once that happens. So,
yeah. Oh, the good downhill.
Yeah, the good downhill.
downhill.
Yes. Meaning, there's a climb, and then once you get to the top, it's like, okay, now we can just ride on the wheels spinning. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's called a slide.
A slide.
It's a
I guess
slide.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
Downhill
fun
does
slide.
have a
You
different
work
connotation.
to climb the ladder.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, snakes and ladders, right?
Yeah.
That's a game.
That is a game.
That's a game.
Game.
So let's talk a little bit about the team. How big's the team? Everyone involved, and what does the workflow look like to put this game together?
So it was around 10 people that worked on it. So each person, kind of had their own little role.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 engineers, 2 artists, a composer, a sound designer. Yeah, just trying to remember.
And then you
So
as
it's like-
producer, right? You're
Yeah,
producing.
Well, you
producer.
as a little bit of everything.
Everything.
Yeah. So mostly I was a producer and I handle all the business side of the
Cool.
company.
Yeah. So that's a good sized team for an indie team like that.
Absolutely.
How long has this game been from concept to where it is now? Because you're about to go live with it.
Yeah. I'd say 5 years.
5
So
years.
Wow.
Steven and Aaron, there are 2 engineers. They worked on it since freshman year. And then sophomore year is when we decided to all come together as a team and work on it. Actually for a competition.
Oh, really?
A game competition.
Wow. Well,
Very cool.
No
Yeah.
figure.
So we basically, instead of being responsible adults and trying to get or responsible students and trying to get internships.
Yeah, you're
We're
out
like,
making a game.
Yeah, we're gonna make a game.
Hey, but
Yeah.
look where you are now. Aren't you glad you made that decision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got an internship when I was in college as a programmer, and it was in ASA. I wish I'd have just stayed and made my own game like I had planned originally.
Yeah.
That's really where I'm at. Is I should have gone that route. So good on you, man. You made the right decision.
Awesome. So let's tell us real quick where to find the game. Obviously, we know Discord.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do people need to know?
So we have an official Discord server. It's discord.gg/@sundown.
Cool.
You can also find us on Twitter. Twitter, it's the @ symbol and then Sundown Game. It gets confusing because if I just say Sundown Game.
At Sundown.
Yeah.
Right, right.
At
Yeah,
Sundown. No,
but it's at
symbol Sundown game.
Right.
And then Facebook, facebook.com/Sundown Game.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be playing it a lot
Yes.
tonight. Very
Absolutely.
excited. Ted, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to
Yeah.
thank you for being here this evening. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is.
I
I'm
know
excited.
a lot of people that are going to be here that are going to
Yep.
right up their alley.
There's going to be screaming, and it's going to sound like a
Yeah.
sports event in here tonight.
Perfect.
It's going to happen.
That's what we want.
It's happening.
This 18 and over stream, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be probably a lot of swear words.
Yeah, a lot of swear
Well,
words. A lot of swear words.
We can just dip the audio out. It's a far shot. We're not going to put a mic on your table if that's
Yeah,
what you're
right.
wondering.
I don't know. It
But,
might get a
keep
little
your
loud.
enthusiasm. Yeah. Well, then we might have to change our preferences and settings after this
Yeah,
event.
maybe.
Yeah, or we just won't air this one. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Well,
Somehow I
Ted,
don't think that's happening.
thank you
Yeah.
for everything. Thank you for appearing on the podcast. We'll be swinging by a little bit later. Keep watching the stream. We'll get some shots of the game in the background so you can get a feel for what to expect very soon when you get this game.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh,
Thank
yes,
you,
of
man.
course. All right.
Got that from me.
So I can't go much longer without kind of mentioning how we got here
Yeah, of
and
course.
why we're here.
Yeah.
We have, from the beginning, before we even had an idea rounded off of what the night was, I went to Will Delaney over at Game Realms
Oh, yeah.
and said, "Hey, man, I got this idea. We want to do this thing. I need some help.
Right.
I need some systems.
Right.
I need some direction." And he took a big risk, and it paid off. It's been
So
great.
far.
It's a
Yeah.
wonderful partnership that's been going. So I just, if you're down here, you make it down here. We raffle off store credit, so you can get $50 of store credit to go down and pick up anything you need in the gaming world. Will, if he doesn't have it, he'll get it. We're also doing a raffle item, an art book.
Yep.
From the store as well, and it's been so great working with him. So he's on 137 North Victory Boulevard in Burbank, California, which is 91502. If you're in the area, check it out. If you're not, buy a plane ticket, fly down here, check it out.
You can also find them online at game-realms.com. and on
Game-Realms. Yes, sir.
Instagram at Game Realms.
They're great, man.
Yeah.
It's the best, and they're I'm just so
They got a
happy.
great brand.
Yeah, they
They
got a
really do.
great brand. They got a great store,
Yeah.
and I'm just so happy
And
to
clearly,
be involved with them.
especially willing to take a chance on somebody who didn't have anything going
Yeah.
at all.
Nope,
and
we
now to
believed
see
in
it
it.
come together like this, and all the people that we have in here on
Yeah.
every
And
last
still going-
Sunday, it's
Still
great, man.
going strong. He does
Yep.
a lot for the community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of game tournaments if you're a game tournament kind of person.
Yep.
A lot of different tournaments that happen down there. They do a lot of events. They do retro swap meets. They do
Oh,
a lot of
nice.
really cool stuff.
Very
So
cool.
it's more than just a game
Games.
store.
Well, and that's what I really love about this, Red. And I gotta give props to you on that. Is when you put this together, you're really giving some opportunity to small business owners. Like people who are trying to make something of themselves by their own hard work and things that they've made themselves. So that's really we need more of that in this world, I think.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
thank you very much for doing that.
I really appreciate
Yeah,
it, man.
man.
I just I want to build a positive community.
Absolutely.
I want people to come in, have a safe place, a
Yep.
fun place,
Accepting
and make it a party and a
Yeah.
really good time and
Right.
and something that you leave here feeling good about. I don't think there's
And
enough
that
of
you
that.
can grow.
And
That
we
you can grow.
And that helps. That starts with everyone watching, everyone sharing, tell
Coming
everybody
down,
about
play
it.
these games.
Come down, play
Yep.
the games.
drink,
Just be a
all
part of it. Take the information we give you about the games that are here month in and month out, and go check them out. Give them a
Yeah,
follow on social media.
absolutely.
Go follow them on Twitter.
And
do
if you
whatever
like
can.
them when you're here, buy them.
buy
Buy
them.
them.
Yes,
Yes.
buy them. That's
Buy
a
them.
huge part.
That's the best way to support these guys
and
is to purchase their games.
and talking about support in the games involved, let's bring up our last
one.
our game developer here with a
Last,
wonderful game.
but certainly not least.
No,
Not
not
at
at all.
all.
This one's fantastic.
Yes.
We have a wonderful game called Little
Little
Bug.
Bug.
If I see him over there.
Bella.
We,
Wanna come
there
on
he
up?
comes. We got Bella coming up with Little Bug.
So Bella's going to come up. Little Bug.
Very fun game.
Yeah,
and very
dude. Super artistic.
visually appealing.
Yeah.
That's my thing about it is I've watched trailers, I've watched
Yeah.
gameplay, I've played a little bit, I've
Yeah.
watched you play. I get locked into
The
how
art
this looks. Oh,
style's
here
really
we go.
cool,
We got
yeah.
Bella here.
Bella, yeah, just
Come
right
on
there.
in.
Hi,
How you doing?
Hey, Bella.
I'm good.
Good. I like this shirt, by the way. I meant to tell you earlier.
Thank you.
It's very iconic.
Thanks. It's my alien shirt.
Yeah, it's good. I have
And that
a
is
lot
wh-
of shirts
that
like
is-
this. Mine are more like I have a universal Cheshire cat, and then I have one.
What's
of,
a universal
it's
Cheshire
it's
cat?
the universe. It's a picture
Okay.
of the universe, but they've put a picture of a cat inside of it. So it's a
Oh,
cat
so
named
it's like
Universe.
it's like a Cheshire cat of the
Of the
universe.
universe.
Of
right.
the universe.
Oh, I thought you meant like it could like plug into whatever plug you needed to plug it into.
Universal cat shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't even have to talk about
Hilarious.
your shirt because I think everybody's pretty aware of that right now.
Yes.
Especially anyone who has
Espito
ever heard
man.
of games ever.
Espito.
But right now we got Little Bug. Little Bug
Yes.
is awesome. We were talking as you were walking up about just the way the game looks is transcendent in its own. Before you even get into gameplay or storyline, it's very mesmerizing. The storyline is awesome. I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Everything about this game is it feels great. Let's jump right in and start with the story.
So it's a platformer, right? You are identifying that the genre of the game is platformer.
Yes, this is a platformer.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit
That's
about
fair.
what what that platformer is. Who are we playing?
You're playing as a young girl named Naya.
Okay.
She's a city girl. And she's on her way home when things sort of get surreal. And she's cast into this sort of dream world,
Right.
you could say. And then she finally makes her way home and tries to tell her mom about what happened to her.
Oh.
And her mom doesn't really care. Or she thinks her mom doesn't care.
Right.
But she has an argument with her mom who seems to care more about her baby sister. And her world literally turns upside down at that point. And she ends up sort of figuring out how to get through this world that's scattered with lots of little trinkets from her life.
Right.
And you can actually pick those things up and put them in her lunchbox.
Right.
And they each have a little tidbit about like her life.
Right. And I noticed when you were playing through it that a lot of them seem to be based in like scientific, like fossils and
Yeah.
like STEM kind of concept stuff, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So this game was made by my team Buddy System.
Right.
I'm the main developer.
Cool.
But it was definitely a team effort, and we put a lot. I think like a lot of indie games, we put ourselves into it very much. And so for our first game, Little Bug, we really wanted to just like kind of dig deep about like and give as much of our personalities to the characters in the world as possible.
Yes, of course.
The game itself is about a young black girl and her family. So it's only about black women
Right.
as the main characters, and there's some cats as well.
Nice.
Because it's an indie game.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so there has to be
Are
cats.
the thing. Right.
So, but anyway, that cat is actually based off of one of our developers, like middle school cat.
Okay.
But so Naya's story isn't a story that like I think I'm really qualified to tell.
Right.
It's that's not my story.
Right.
So we actually based her off of loosely off of our friend who's actually getting her PhD right now in microbiology, and she's a mycologist as well, so she studies mushrooms. So we would always just call her up and be like, Naya is going to be picking stuff up in her lunchbox. Like, does a lunchbox sound cool to you? She's like, that sounds great. We're like, well, what would she pick up? And she's like, she might pick up this, she might pick up that. And I was like, why would she pick up that? And so from these conversations, the story of Naya and her family kind of organically
That's cool.
developed
Yeah.
alongside
that's
the
really, really cool.
very close to the
Yeah.
heart. That's wonderful to go off and have that feeling of telling a real story.
Real impactful story inside of video
Yeah.
gaming, which I think it's starting to happen because it's become more popular. But in the indie realm, it seems like it's lacking in a real way, from my experience, of these really personal women, person of color stories that don't get told. But I want to know about because I'm not that, and I want to know what that's like. I want to have some window into that kind of stuff, like I do with any story.
Totally. And for people like you and me and you, there's plenty of stories that we can actually there's like we're not the ones that need more stories.
Correct.
People need characters they can identify in.
I already have heroes that look like me.
Totally. You got tons.
Tons of them.
And so like and we all do. And I think it's time, and I personally have just like have never been somebody who's like into superheroes.
Right.
Never really somebody. I've been more like I grew up on Nicktoons and Ren and Stimpy and stuff like that. So like for me, I'm more into the wackiness and sort of like pushing it to the edge of like of storytelling while keeping things whimsical at the same time and making sure there's magic involved, making sure there's playfulness.
Yeah.
But also making it fun. Like I won't expect. I didn't want to just make it about her and her family. I wanted to make it fun because I wanted to make it so that like, if somebody's sitting at home and playing this and they might be, unfortunately, there's people who might be turned off by playing as a girl of color and would want this sort of classical male character. So we wanted to make it fun as well so that players wouldn't actually have any, qualms about if it was a fun game. They
Right.
would just they would just get right into it and
Right.
play.
Right.
And that is one thing about the game is there's a very fun swinging mechanic.
Yes.
It's like when you're talking about the room, or you're talking about her life kind of getting flipped upside down. It literally happens. It's
Right.
a lot of really fun gameplay used as a tool to tell an awesome story. But we're talking about kind of where you guys came from and developed the idea. Talking with you earlier, it seems like in the process of this game, you've worn quite a few hats. So let's talk about you and your involvement in every little thing that you've jumped in and been a part of. You do a lot of the art, you do a lot of the code, you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Where do you want me to start?
Where do you start?
Yeah. Where did you start?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a great one. Yeah.
I went to art school.
Cool.
Never really thought I was going to be making video games. I got like C's and D's in math and science, all and stuff through high school and all of school.
Hey, me too.
I
So
can't claim that. Sorry, guys.
So I never thought I was actually going to make games. And I was actually working as like a butcher here in LA, just like doing what most art school students do, which is like get a job in the food industry.
Right.
And I just like downloaded Unity and just started messing around. And I set a goal for myself. I was like, I want to make a game by the time IndieCade submissions are over for that year, which is 2016. So I spent the year and made a sort of alpha of Little Bug. Got rejected by IndieCade.
But you made it.
But I made the
you made it,
demo. I made
Right.
the demo, and so yeah, I like through that whole process, I basically like learned how to make a game, and that was mostly on my own, although there were other people helping. And then with this full game, we got crowdfunded after I did that, and I actually was like teaching myself how to do write code and use Blender, which is the 3D modeling program, and
Right.
Flash and all those things via YouTube and forums.
Oh wow.
So I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I was like completely hooked, and I like wanted to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
after the crowdfunding campaign, we just sort of took it to the next level. We had enough money to, not a lot of money, but we had enough money to actually hire friends and people that we admired to at least do some work on the game.
Right.
We didn't have anywhere close enough money to have full-time employees or even part-time employees or even
Right.
employees, period. But like, but we could contract our friends out and put some money in their pockets and have them be a part of the game.
Right,
So that was
yeah.
really great.
That's great. Yeah, that's
And that's a very important aspect too, is to recognize that what you're doing is you're trying to build something together with people who are doing something that's considered a trade.
Right.
That's something
Again,
and
a
to
community.
find the money for that and bring them in. I'm sure it has shown in the quality of the product that you guys put out to this point.
I couldn't have asked for a better team.
That's
I
perfect,
just
man.
the only thing I want is for Little Bug to do well enough. This is our first game, so I'm not like
right.
I'm not saying like anything nuts needs to happen, but all I'm really aiming for is enough money to like break even and then be able to
Make another one.
make another game and pay our friends
Yeah.
to keep
Man,
doing,
if
doing
this is the
Yep.
first game,
Yep.
I'm very
Yeah,
excited to see what's coming
I'm
down the
gonna be
pipeline
straight
for
up with
game
you.
2.
I'm going to be straight up with you, Bella. Playing that and realizing that this is your first game, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I
The
would have
art
thought you
style
would
is
have come down
amazing.
from like, oh, we scrapped
Yeah.
this and we scrapped that and we did
Seriously.
this and this and that.
Yeah.
No, man, that's very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yep.
I mean, we scrapped a
Very
lot of
impressive.
things.
I'm sure there
Of course, you have to.
Yeah.
So
As
there's-
is true of any artistic endeavor, right? Like I did this
Yeah.
art. Okay, now that's gone away.
So
Now we
Yeah.
in
do this.
being a platformer, though, you had mentioned that there's a cool little incentive to beat the game quickly.
Oh, yeah. Speedruns.
I think that it's a game that speedrunners will definitely like and have already started doing to like not a huge amount of people, but like I've already seen people playing it and finishing and they're being like, because there's an achievement for beating the game in under 45 minutes,
Right.
and somebody was like, I beat that I got 45 minutes on the first try. In fact, I could probably do under that. And like I was like, cool. Like we're
Great.
learning about the game. That's cool that you did that. Maybe I'll put another achievement.
Yeah,
and
right,
Make
yeah.
it like
20
10
minutes,
and make it
yeah.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then see how
Get
you
that
do.
one. Yeah.
The hardest one is to beat the game without dying.
Oh,
They sent
wow.
me a picture of their stats. This particular person sent me a picture of their stats for that since they got the game, and they said they did it on their first playthrough, which they might have.
Right.
But I also noticed that they had 500 deaths. So
Well, that's one way to do it.
So, I guess that's one way to go
Yeah,
about
you
it. I'm
can
just
do it
dying my
that
way
way,
through
yeah.
the game.
I was doing the math in my
Well,
head, and I was like, "That's impressive to
Yeah.
die that many times and still."
In
I wanna
45
see
minutes.
This, I want to see this become. I want
Yeah.
people to go in there and don't die
Right.
and do a speed run on
Yeah.
it. And I mean, you told us that you can fly through it, but you rightfully so. You should. But what's your bar? What are you looking? Someone to not die and do it in 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, or less than that. I'm actually gonna probably do a Twitch stream next week or this coming week, where I'm going to try and do the 3 hardest achievements in the game all in one playthrough.
Oh, nice.
Which is not dying, never running out of your beam energy. Your beam energy, you get about around 2 seconds of beam energy before it pops, and then you fall back to the floor where it regenerates.
Yep.
But it's possible to play the game without ever running out of it.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So, and then there's another achievement so not dying, not running out of energy, and doing it in under 45 minutes.
If I wanted to watch that stream, where do I go?
Yeah.
You would go to Twitch TV, twitch.tv / Buddy System Games.
Cool.
Buddy System Games.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's where you would go.
And then BuddySystemGames.com is the website.
Yes.
And on Twitter, you are at BuddySystemLA.
At BuddySystemLA. And at BuddySystemLA is where we are the most active. So if we're going to be doing something on Twitch, we're going to be posting a link there when we do it.
So go follow the Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
Follow us on Twitter.
That's the best way to get the updates.
And do you have a release date?
It's been released.
Oh, it has
It
been
is
released.
released.
Perfect.
It actually
Great.
released.
It's out.
I guess that makes sense when you're talking about people already doing
Yeah.
Duh.
Somebody, the game got leaked.
Make sure,
The game got leaked and some rando told me to speed around it. So
and
I'm
someone was
flattered.
dying 500 times.
I mean, somebody already pirated the game, so
Oh, wow.
I guess I'm flattered.
Yeah, I
someone
guess
already got
that's
tired of it.
Pirated it.
Oh,
Pirated it.
Hey, that's high praise. Yeah, you got.
We are just
The
so
highest
happy.
form of flattery.
We're just so happy
mimicry.
that we're getting pirated. It's
But if you
great.
pirate it, go back and buy it, and then
Yes,
pirate it
please.
later. I don't know. Just buy it first off.
It's only $10.
It's only. Why are you pirating that? Come on,
Right.
it's not Napster
$10.
days. Let's go.
Like they're pirating it so they can afford a 6-pack.
Right.
To play the game and
play
get
the
drunk.
game
I mean, I don't know. It's the same price as a
Yeah.
6-pack. So
Okay, well then we'll have to see what
Little
what
bug, the
what
same
work-
price as a
what the
6-pack.
process with that one is.
Yeah.
But I got to
crazy.
tell you, the game's awesome. It looks amazing. Get out there, follow the Twitter
Yes.
account, go get the game for the $10. Don't
Come
pirate
down
it.
and play it here.
Buy
Come and
your
play it.
Bela,
you know
come
what?
talk to
Buy
Bela.
your 6-pack here at Scum and
Right.
Villainy
And play the game.
and play the game.
Um,
Happening tonight. You
we're
can
also
do that.
going to be at Indiecade this year. We got
Okay.
rejected the first year, but we
Great.
got accepted this year. So we're also
Awesome.
going to be at Indiecade if you want to come and play there too.
Yes. Come and then we'll know all about that following the Twitter account.
Exactly.
Perfect. Hey, thank you so much, Bella, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We're
Thank you
gonna
for
have a lot
having
of fun
me.
tonight.
Absolutely.
Once again, we're going to do a live interview on the stream later so you can get a look about the art we're talking about and some of the gameplay. So stay tuned and be looking for that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bela.
So, Ron,
Yeah.
we're wrapping
about
up
that
here. We're
time,
getting
right?
close. I
It's about
can't
that time.
I can't finish off the stream without talking about the incredible artist
Yes.
that we have tonight,
Yes.
Kevin Hill, and I'm just going to get all of this correctly.
You grit it.
Now,
Grab
Kevin, he does have a background in video games. He's worked in a lot of different stuff.
Cool.
I found out about Kevin through team members of the Board Game Brigade,
it. Okay.
which they do a showcase for board game designers, board game designers.
Very cool.
Actually doing one October 14th at Geeky Tees in
Oh,
Burbank.
nice.
But he's worked in board games. He's worked in video games. He has a graphic novel called Bloodstream right now.
Oh, nice.
This guy is no joke.
Yeah. I was looking at some of the art earlier.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
My friend sent this over to me. He was like, "Hey, you should contact Kevin." And I was like, "Can I contact Kevin? Like, do I call his
yes.
agent?
Yeah.
Do,
Who do I
yeah.
who do I reach
How
out
do I
to?
get a hold
Yeah.
of Kevin?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Go onto his Instagram.
Mhm.
It's okay. So get a pin out. Is that a pun? It didn't
I
work.
don't know.
Instagram at ink_and_painter Kevin.
Right.
That's not it's not a symbol for and. That's A&D. So ink_and_painter
Painter.
Kevin.
His website's painterkevin.com.
Painterkevin.com. Go down to his Patreon, support him,
Yes.
check out Bloodstream, his graphic novel. It's
Come
awesome.
down, talk to him.
We'll come down.
Meet
Yeah,
him.
obviously,
Meet
come
him.
down here and talk to him.
Talk to him, meet him,
Meet
look at
him
his art
and
with your
get
own
all
eyes.
that. It's awesome. He's got a great little table set up of just killer stuff.
Yeah.
Killer stuff. There he is. Give us a
Crazy.
wave. There he is.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
on.
yeah.
You,
You're
no
not
one's
on, but
seeing
it's
you
all
right now, but we're just waving to you. Hey, and once again, we have familiar
Oh, yeah,
composers
right, our
coming back,
composers,
being
right.
featured that you can hear on the stream. You can hear at the bar when you're down here watching and hanging out with us.
Which includes someone that we should always call out and thank.
Well, there is one individual.
There
on
is
this
one
list
individual on
that
this list.
Literally, I thank Game Realms and I thank Scum and Villainy and I thank you, but this would not
Without him,
happen.
it
We
would not
could
happen.
not do any of
Correct.
this at all
Correct.
if it wasn't for Mr. Chris Perry.
Mr. Chris Perry. And he's like that in my own life, too. Like, without him, there's a lot of things that just couldn't happen.
He's
So
going to shut the stream off.
he
on
is
us
going to
right
show.
now.
That's
I
his
got
thumb
a thumb
in the
out there.
background there, the big thumb.
He is, is just, he's
Not a camera
delight.
guy.
He's,
Not a
he's
camera
an
guy.
honor. We'll get him on camera
Yes.
essentially. But
Sometimes.
he's behind the camera on all of it, making this happen. Everything you see on the stream that you love and is wonderful, that is thanks to Mr. Chris Perry bringing it together. It's an honor to work with him over at Red Rock, to have him as a friend.
Yep.
And we thank him for everything.
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 It's all for you, man. It's all for you, homie.
It's all for you. So with that, do you have any last thoughts? I have to go feed my meter soon. So
Yeah,
whenever we can wrap this up.
I also have to do that. So, Rad, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate having me as your co-host. I enjoy this every time.
It's my honor.
And I look forward to growing and continuing to do this, man. It's so
So
fun.
we are about to open up the doors at 6 o'clock,
Yes.
but this will play starting at 6
6
o'clock.
right?
So if you hear me, then just say, "Oh no, they already opened doors. Let's go down there
Let's go down.
and hang out with Red
Right.
and Ron
And
and
Ron,
Chris and
yeah,
everybody,
and everybody that we
showcasing.
met.
It's awesome,
Yeah,
and the wonderful
sweet.
bartender Dan. He's awesome. Yay.
Dan and
So,
Stella Villainy and
It's been great.
Yep.
It's been fun.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, everybody.
Come down, Scum and Villainy. We'll see you here tonight.
See you next month if we don't see you tonight.
We'll end on that.